Welcome back to the Canning Pantry. I think that your last tour down here was in November, so it's been almost 6 months now. And I think it's a good time for another one. We were here in November because we had just finished harvest season. And I had canned everything that came out of the garden. I had canned everything I could get at a farmer's market that I couldn't grow. All of that was all set. It was great. These top shelves were stocked and looking beautiful, and now they're emptying out. So I wanted to go over with you the changes that have happened since the last time and talk a little bit about why and how I plan my pantry and how I'm constantly learning how to better plan my pantry and how I don't know that I can ever actually nail it. And that's okay. You know, taste change, our eating habits change. You know, we're keto, we're low carb, we're paleo, we're bring it all, so that's okay. It's my little challenge to try to keep up with it, and I'm totally good with that. So let's talk about some of the things that have changed. So back in November, as we discussed, I was very fruit and vegetable heavy in here. I was a little light on the meats. I was very light on meal starters and on meals in jars. So my goal over the winter was to beef up, no pun intended, sort of, those areas, and make sure that I had plenty of meats stocked for the way we eat. I wanted meal starters because those make my life so much easier. It is so easy to pull out a jar that already has all the flavor in it. It already has all the time cooked into it. It already has everything that I want my meal to taste like. All of that has been done. All the hours and the labor and the, I just have to open it up, and it takes me, I don't know, it takes me 15 minutes to, throw together a salad and some sort of green vegetable, or, do a potato, whatever. So easy. So I am loving having the meal starters, and I will probably work on a couple more of those before summer harvest season starts. So that has been tremendous. I have also put a great deal of effort into beef. I keep wanting to say beef up. I've also put a great deal of effort into stocking up on the meals in jars. And that has been really handy. David and I are both retired, yet this somehow seems to be an extremely busy season in our lives, between parents and kids and social obligations and all the things that we wanted to do when we were working full-time, non-stop, basically 24/7, and didn't have a chance to do. So we're trying to kind of pile all of that in, and we have wonderful new friends here. And so making mealtime easy has been such a blessing. So I love the grab and go meal in a jar, and I love that I don't have to stop what I'm doing and help David find lunch. He just has to go in and say, I think I'll have sausage and peppers today, and it's done. And I know it's healthy, and I know he's getting everything he needs, vegetables, meat, everything in there. So those have been terrific. I probably do a couple more of those coming up, and we'll talk about that as we look through the pantry. Let's take a look at where we were in numbers back in November. I had 753 jars in here, which was, I called it a year's worth of food, and basically it is. I don't know whether I had the appropriate breakdown of proteins to vegetables to whatever, but we go through about 15 jars a week. And that's, if I stack up everything that comes out of the dishwasher over a week, I generally end up with 15, 16 jars. So in terms of numbers, that, that's kind of about right, about what we need. So I've loosely kept track, and I do mean kind of loosely kept track of what we have gone through. And so that's things we've given away, like a lot of the little jams and chutneys and things I give as hostess gifts if we go to somebody's house for dinner. I give them as, neighbor gifts at Christmas or whatever. So we have gone through, eaten, given away 390 jars since November. And then I've taken another 24 off the main part of the shelf, and I've moved them to what I'm now calling the apocalypse shelf. So things that just, they sit here and they taunt me, and I'm just not going to eat them. But I'm hanging on to them until I need the jars or until I need the food. So that's where they are. They are on the back of the shelf. You won't see them. So I removed the meatloaf. I removed the collard greens. I removed the sweet potatoes canned in water. I tried so many times to like those. I really did. I tried all kind of different preparations. I did them in baked goods. I, tried to fry them up. I tried to mash them. I put them in, I don't know. Anyway, they just weren't my thing. I mean, the apocalypse comes, I will eat them. But for now, they just don't really belong on the front of my shelf. So I've got too many other things that I do need to get in there that we will eat. So that is my plan with those. So all told, and I'm not counting those 24 jars in my totals. So basically we're down 414 jars from that 753. So then let's add in everything that I have canned since November, and that takes us back up to 1,017 jars. So I'm pretty excited with that because my focus has really been the meats, the meals in jars, condiments, and broth. And I've done, maybe haven't done as many condiments as I'd like to do. I've got a couple of others I'd like to do before summer starts, but I've done really well on getting the others into the pantry, and I am thrilled with that. However, we have drastically reduced the vegetables and fruit products that we have in here, so I'm really looking forward to summer to get those filled back up. And we'll go through and we'll talk about a couple of them that I overestimated how much we would want them, and the ones that I underestimated, because there are a couple of key ones that I really underestimated, and so I'm really trying to focus my garden so that I can increase those numbers for next year. So that's pretty exciting. I think I'm going to be okay there. So the other thing I want to talk about, and I only brought one down with me, is the foods that I've dried. Now, we don't have a freeze dryer, but I do have a dehydrator, and I do make very good use of it during the summer. So I dry all my herbs, and I'm pretty good on herbs, but I did make a note that I need to start earlier, and I have this much fresh dill from the garden that has been dried from the garden. So I've got a couple of things I'm working on now, and I just did some sage. I just ran some sage through the dehydrator. So I'm going to try to do that, early and often, as I say. So I'm going to keep working on my herbs all through spring. And then this is my very last jar, and I just opened it, so it's no longer vacuum sealed. But this is my very last jar of dehydrated cherry tomatoes. And I think I had 6 quarts of these things at the end of last season. And, that tells you how much we enjoy them. I really love them on pizzas and salads and snacks. I don't sit there and snack on raisins, but I do sit there and snack on dried tomatoes. So I'm a little panicky that may not last me until they start coming out again. But hopefully we'll be okay, and I intend to do that again early and often. So this year I'm hoping to put a significant focus on drying the little cherry tomatoes as they came in. Last year, with the heat, and my production was much lower than I anticipated, and so much of my focus went to eating them fresh. In fact, a lot of them didn't even make it in from the garden, because that's my treat for pulling weeds. So that's on my list as well. So let's talk a little bit about why it may not be so straightforward to manage your pantry like I need. Let's say we eat carrots 1 time a week, so I need 52 jars of carrots. We eat collard greens 1 time a week, so we need 52 jars of that. We eat chicken twice a week, so I need 104 jars of that. It sounds great. I would love for my life to be that straightforward and dependable that I could do that, but I don't know, maybe it's me, but I find that I can't stick to that kind of schedule. I don't really meal plan my meal plan comes based on, is there anything fresh left in the refrigerator? Is there anything fresh in the garden? What do we need to eat? And then let's put together a meal around that. And so that's how I meal plan. And our taste change, our diet changes, so our schedule changes. Sometimes we are breakfast and lunch eaters, sometimes we're breakfast and dinner eaters. Changes with the season. We want something heavy and warming, or we want something cool and light. So it's very difficult for me, in the way my life works, to just say I need X number of this and X number of that. Now, you got to start somewhere, right? So, well, that doesn't necessarily tell me exactly how much I need to make of any one thing. I do kind of judge it year to year, and it's based on what we really enjoyed, what I think we're going to enjoy going forward. Anything new that we found, I do like to try new recipes, as I'm sure you've noticed. So like baked beans. Baked beans. I made one batch of baked beans, and I'm probably going to make 2 more before summer canning starts and all the produce starts coming in. We really like those. So for summer, we're going to be focused on some of my holes up here. So pickled vegetables, salsas, chutneys, jams, jellies, potatoes. Potatoes, I'm relatively well stocked on potatoes, but I love the hash brown potatoes and the French fried potatoes. So when mine come out fresh out of the garden, I'm going to be canning up a bunch of those. All right, so let's take a look. I'm not going to walk through everything. If you want to go back and see exactly what's in my pantry, at least, as of last November, that video is a little more in depth on what is there. I'm going to walk through some of the new things, some of the things that I'm definitely going to add, some of the things I am not going to do again. And I hope that helps you in your own planning. All right, I have a winner and a loser. Let's start with the loser, shall we? This is hummus. I made this in December. I canned this twice. I filmed this twice. I made it into hummus twice. Ate it twice. Hated it twice. So, I tried. This was going to be a video for you guys. It was out of the Not Your Mama's Canning book. And I thought it was going to be great. The idea was that everything you need to make hummus is in this jar. All these sesame seeds up here, when you stick them in a blender, the thought was that they would become the tahini that goes in normal hummus. But they didn't. So I still needed tahini, which still left me with the problem I was trying to get away from, which is that open bottle of tahini that floats around my refrigerator. It moves from one shelf to another to get it out of the way. And by the time I go around to use it again, it's hard on the bottom and just a bunch of oil on the top. So I was hoping to get past that because I love hummus. But this is not the answer. To me, this was not even as good as opening a can of chickpeas. So it's on my shelf. I have 7 jars of it left. And I'm just going to have to take one for the team and work my way through it, or it's going to end up on the apocalypse shelf up here. So I did not put this video up because I want to make sure that anything I give you guys is something that I really like and that I would make again. All right, so that's my loser. Let's talk about a winner. This is grainy mustard that I made in December with you guys. I have a video on this. This is my very last jar of this, and I just made it in December. We are a mustard-loving family, so I'm going to make more of this for myself. I may do a couple of other different types of mustard, and if I do, I'll make videos on those. But this has been a really fun thing to have on the pantry shelf. Another winner for us, steak sauce. I just put this video up not too long ago. This stuff is so tasty. I'm not really a steak sauce fan, but this stuff is excellent. I voluntarily eat this stuff, and I choose it over something like barbecue sauce or something that I would normally put on a hamburger. I'm loving the steak sauce, and it was pretty easy to make. So if you have not made this one, you might want to put that one on your list. It looks a little loose here in the in the jar, but when you stick this in the refrigerator, it becomes beautiful. It'll stick to the back of a spoon, and it's just exactly the consistency you want as it comes out of the refrigerator to put on your steak or hamburger or whatever. That's the winner. Alright, let's talk about the potatoes. This is my third batch I have made of the hash brown potatoes. We love these. They are probably one of the most versatile things that I have. I use them in frittatas. I use them in corned beef hash. I use them as like a vegetable hash. I use them, I don't know, everything. Just as hash browns on the, with some eggs on the side kind of thing. They are so easy and so fantastic. And they taste exactly, to me, they taste exactly like fresh potatoes. So these are a big winner. So as soon as I have some fresh potatoes, I'll be making some more of these. And the fries as well. The fries are great. These are so much fun. I was eating a lot of these over the summer. Love to grill out. So whether it's a chicken breast or a steak or a hamburger or whatever, this is always a great side. Super easy. And it takes, the same amount of time basically as it takes to grill a steak or a hamburger. So that is perfect for me. This is a pork shelf. So this is raw pack pork. And I have plenty of that. And I don't think I added any of that this winter. I think I was still okay on that. That's right, because I did the seasoned pulled pork with the barbecue sauce. This is ham, canned ham. It's one of those things you're not supposed to can. I canned it anyway. I like it. I use it in my eggs, particularly in the morning, because I like that it's very smoky and it crisps up nicely, and it's not the soft pink ham anymore. It's a very different product, and some people don't like it. I like it. So I make sure I have plenty of that, and I have extra stock of that up here. Let's talk about a couple of the items that we just recently added. This was in the sandwich series with the pulled pork in the barbecue sauce and the sausage and peppers. And so these have been great additions. We've already had a couple of jars of each in the past, 3 weeks or so since I made these. And these are tremendous. David just thinks it's so groovy that he can come down and grab some pulled pork and sauce and be good to go, and a can of baked beans. Don't forget the baked beans. So we're pretty excited about these, and I'm glad to have these on the shelf. I did also add to my hot Italian sausage. Back in November, I think I was down to 4 jars of this, and I use this not only in all of my egg bake kind of things for breakfast, but I also use it in dressing over the holidays. So I went through all 4 jars over the holidays. So I have been working on upping that. You can see I use different types of sausages. So this is the one that comes from Costco, and it comes out this kind of orange color. And this is the kind that is just a grocery store brand, and it comes out this color. But they're both essentially the same thing. They taste the same. So I did increase that substantially. Okay, this one does not make a great visual because you really can't see it, but that's bacon. You see a little bit of the little bacon bits in here. And bacon is the thing that has taught me never say never. Because as one of you so rightly pointed out, way back when, I think it was in August or September, on another video, I had said I just didn't know about canning bacon, and I didn't think that was something I was going to ever try. Well, I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. And I'm going to try not to say never, ever again. This was fantastic. This we have used, this is my last small jar left. This has been great to just open and pop on a salad. That's been terrific. I'm trying to save as many of these as I can for tomato season so I can have some BLTs. That I'm very excited about. So back in November, when we were looking at the pantry, I was very low on broth. I had a couple jars of chicken and turkey broth. I had a couple jars of beef broth, and I had some onion stock. So that was not nearly enough to get me through. So I have upped that substantially. I am still light on chicken bone broth. So I will be doing that, coming up here soon. I have the bones, and I had to get to that. But I may turn that into a soup product instead of just doing another broth. But I did get a lot of turkey broth done after the holidays. Had a couple of turkeys I got to work on there. And then the bone broth, we just did that video a month or so ago. So I have a lot of bone broth on the shelf now, and I am so excited about that. So that was a huge win for me this winter. All right, let's move over to the center shelf. So this is where the cupboard starts to get a little bare. So I've been filling in all the bare spots down here, and I've done a really good job, I think, of stocking us up so I don't have to worry so much about the meat products during the summer. Now I can focus on all the fruits and vegetables. So we are quite depleted here, and that's a good thing. That means that we're going through our stock. All right, so let's talk about my salsa shelf. We love salsa. I don't know if everybody loves salsa as much as we do, but we really enjoy salsa. So this is peach salsa. This is really good, really good. However, we always seem to grab the mango salsa. So exact same recipe. This one uses peaches, this one uses mango. I don't know why we grab one over the other, but I'm definitely going to be making more mango. I think I have enough peach to get us through. I have about 8 jars of the peach salsa left, so that ought to be fine. Definitely making more mango though. I'm down to 4 jars of mango, and that is a little scary for taco night. So I also had in November, I had some pineapple salsa, and we have gone through that. That was actually, it was 2 years old. I found 2 jars that I didn't realize I still had. So it wasn't the most beautiful in the jar. I wasn't going to give it away or serve it to friends or whatever at our dinner party, but we ate it, and it was terrific. It tasted exactly the same. It just wasn't as beautiful as it used to be. And we really like the pineapple salsa, so I might do some more of that this year as well. That was roasted pineapple salsa. I might do unroasted pineapple salsa, but we'll see. If you have any thoughts on that, let me know. All right, let's talk about tomato-based salsas now. The zesty salsa and roasted salsa. And you can see, I hope you can see, they look a little different. This is more chunky, a little bit lighter. This is more of a blended product, although it's not really a liquid, and it's a little bit darker. They're the exact same recipe. Exact same recipe. This one I spent hours chopping and dicing and peeling and all that kind of stuff. This one, I did a rough chop on everything, threw it in the oven, roasted it, stuck it in the blender, canned it up. Oh my gosh, so much easier. It literally took half the time. So this one is a definite yes, I'll do it again. This one, if I can talk myself into all that tedious little chopping, I'll do it again. They're both delicious. Literally both delicious. I have started rationing these now because we're going through them so quickly. So I need to make lots more of this next year. So I think that last year I made, I don't know, I think it was at least 16 or 18 jars of each of these, and I'm down to 6. Yeah, I'm down to 6 or 7 jars of each. So, and that's with rationing. And I don't want to ration the food that I make. I want us to eat it. So I'm going to make a little bit more of these this year and to not have to worry about it. All right, here's another one that we have just decimated. This was a total surprise. This is Salsa Verde. It was the first time I had made Salsa Verde, and we loved it. Absolutely loved it. Mine is a combination of green tomatoes and tomatillos, and I thought it was the bomb. Now, I'm not growing tomatillos this year because A, I have a deer who loves them and will crush anything in the way to get to the tomatillos, and B, I just didn't have tremendous luck in the production versus the amount of space that they took up last year. So I am committed to buying tomatillos when they are fresh, and I'll just stick them in the freezer, right, because they get roasted to go into this. And then when my green tomatoes come in, I'll make a bunch more of this Salsa Verde. I think I did a video on this back in October. So I'll have to take a look and check that. I hope I did. If not, I'll do one when I do one this year because it's really, really good. And everything else on that shelf we have eaten. It was full. It was packed. So all this is gone, and it's all fronted. So I need to get to work on that shelf. All right, let's talk about this shelf. Here is my biggest concern. I'm down to 2 jars of the pickled hot peppers. 2 jars. We go through these a lot, and I think I had 22 jars last year at the end of the season, and I'm down to 2 jars, and I won't have any more peppers, hot peppers to pickle until August. So I clearly need to up my pickled peppers production. Now in the summer I do, quick pickles in the refrigerator, that kind of thing. So I kind of feed that, but I need to make sure that I get enough jarred that we can get through the year with, the pickled peppers we want. I mean, they're great, they're healthy, they're super easy. There's nothing funky in there. There's none of that FD and C yellow number 5 or whatever in there. So I want more of these. So I'm probably going to shoot for 30 to 36 jars of pepper. So we'll see if I get there this year. The dill pickles. I tell you, we ate so many pickles last summer. I mean, so many pickles last summer that were just basically quick pickles in the refrigerator. And then I fermented. I think I had 6 half-gallon jars that I fermented toward the end of the season when I'm just like, I'm done. I can't do any more pickles. I fermented them, and we are halfway through the very last jar of fermented pickles, and they are delicious. They're a little too spicy for me at this point because I did put some hot peppers in there. David loves them. They will blow the top of your head off. They're so spicy, but he thinks that they're absolutely delicious. So the fermented pickles held us very well. We haven't even thought about touching these yet. So I won't can any more dill pickles or pickle spears next year. I may do some, I have the sweet pickle relish, but I may do some bread and butter pickles. I think that might be something we use. Me, actually, more than David. But I may do some of that, but I don't think I'm going to can any more of these next year because, I'd rather us eat fermented pickles, quite frankly, just because they're so healthy. I was going to do oranges and grapefruit for you guys this winter when it was citrus season. But prices were outrageous. I mean, they were just, at least here in my area in Tennessee, it was like $10 for 6 little grapefruit. I'm like, that is just, that is not the time to be bulk buying and canning them up. But I will do this at some point, oranges and grapefruit. I love having the citrus on the shelf. It tastes absolutely delicious. It still has a great bite to it. It doesn't get mushy in the jar. I think it's terrific. So I love having these. And I am rationing them, but I am dwindling down. So I need to get some more of these on the shelf. But it's, hopefully next winter it will be a better citrus season and I can stock up at a reasonable price. Baked beans. We just did these. In fact, as I'm filming this video is just airing. So these are great. I love baked beans. I don't like beans in general, and we covered that in the video, but I do love baked beans, and so it's all about the sauce, I guess, for me. But these are terrific. So I'm already planning to do probably 2 more batches of these for the summer because, how great is it to just open a jar of baked beans and heat it up, and it goes with the burger or the steak and the fries, and, okay, I'm in. All right, so I'm going to do more of those. So if you watched last November's thing, you saw that this is where all those soggy sweet potatoes were sitting and the mushy collard greens. I have moved those off the shelf because they don't need to be front and center. I'm not going to, unless I absolutely have to, I'm just not going to eat them. I also have up here, back to the broth, and I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but I do have all of Izzy's broth stored up here, and that I didn't count that in my numbers. And then this shelf is all raw packed meat. This shelf is ground beef and the balance of the raw packed meat. And then down here I have some meals in jars. So let's see what I've added. Alright, so let's talk about a couple of things. Corned beef, that was a first. So I've added that to my shelf. First time I've ever had it on my shelf. And we're enjoying having that. I think I have 5 jars left of that. So that's pretty exciting. This has been the beef meal starter. I did a video on this. September. I have September written on here, but that feels like maybe it was really October. Anyway, this is fantastic. This is flavor in a jar. Everything is in there that I need. I just need to figure out, you know, how to serve it. Does it go on rice? Does it go on potatoes? Does it go on a sweet potato? Does it go in a bowl and I add, you know, some mushrooms and carrots and turn it into more of a stew? It's a great thing. It has saved me. So I love having that on the shelf. Okay. Several steps up from the beef meal starter that I just did is this beef and wine sauce. This is so divine, I cannot even tell you. It didn't take any more, well, it took a little more effort to make, I take that back. It did take more effort to make than the meal starter because I did that one as a raw pack. But this is divine. If you can make this, that video came out in April. So this is, you know, friends coming over for dinner and you want to serve something that looks like you've been in the kitchen for 2 or 3 days, this is it. This is a winner. So if you haven't made that and you think it might appeal to you, give that one a shot. Okay, a couple more newly added. This is the BBQ Brisket. I had a bowl of this for lunch the other day, and by bowl, I mean I just dumped this in a bowl and heated it up. And that was it. And the sauce was significantly better than it was that day after canning. It had much more flavor, had a little more body to it. So that was pretty good. I was more impressed the other day with the sauce than I was the first day that I made it. And this is meatballs and marinara. These are delicious. This is another one of those things I just like to put it in a bowl and maybe have a salad on the side. And you know, it may not look like the prettiest dinner, but it covers all the bases. So I had great vegetables, protein, good salad. It was terrific, and it's super easy. But put it on a sandwich if you happen to have a sub roll laying around. All right, we're going to scoot down to the next shelf, and I hope that I can get the lighting right. It's a little bright over there, so I may glow. I hope not, but we'll see. I'll move you down. There's some glare. I'm very sorry about it. I promise you it's worse for me, but it's the best I can do right now. So let's start up here. You can't even see this in the screen. If you were watching my channel back in December, you know that we were planning a big Christmas party, and I was doing some kind of party favors and food for the party at the same time. And I made a lot of spicy cranberry chutney and a lot of pecan pie in a jar. And then had a family issue come up and the party didn't happen. So I still have a lot of spicy cranberry chutney and pecan pie. I did give a good bit of it out for Christmas gifts to neighbors and that kind of thing. But this stuff is so good. It is so good. The spicy cranberry chutney, and if I do it again, well, let's say when I do it again, I will film it next time. There are some cranberry jalapeno meatballs, I think they're chicken meatballs, that Costco has around holiday season. And I have several of those in my freezer. And so, you know, when you go to a party and they're like, you know, meatballs and they've been dumped in, I think grape jelly is the thing that a lot of folks use, and they're sweet and sticky and delicious, crazy good. So these meatballs, these chicken meatballs, have the cranberries and the jalapenos in them. So instead of using the grape jelly, I use this spicy cranberry chutney, which also has cranberries and jalapenos in it, as my sauce. Wow, it screams holidays. So it does limit you a little bit, although, you know, if I'm just making it for myself, I don't care whether it screams holidays or not. But that is fantastic. So next year you might want to consider making some of this when the cranberries go on sale. Pecan pie in a jar. This stuff is ridiculously good. It is so good. I'm so glad I have these little jars, because if I didn't have these little jars, I'd be making big jars, and then I'd have lots more pie for us to eat at a given time. I mix this little jar with 2 eggs, and I think it is I can't remember now, 1/8 of a cup of melted butter. In my case, it's butter flavored coconut oil. Maybe it's a 1/4 cup, I can't remember. But mix that up and then put it in little ramekins and bake it, and oh, it's just heavenly. So you might want to go back and watch this one, get ready for the holiday season. Pecan pie in a jar. Fantastic. Alright, my chutneys and jams and jellies shelf. You know what, we should talk about this, the bungee cords. They were not there in November. And I felt like they should have been. We're not necessarily an earthquake area here. I mean, I am, if you look at an earthquake, the possible impact map, I'm kind of on the edge, but it's not really the earthquake I'm worried about. It's more tornadoes. We seem to be in Tornado Alley here, and it can shake some things. So I wanted to make sure that my jars were going to be as safe as I could make them. So I got these black bungee cords, and they were a little difficult to put on because I wanted them tight. So I'm pulling and stretching, and anyway, it was quite a comedy show, which is why I didn't tape it. But they seem to be doing a really good job, and it keeps me, if I'm loading from the back, which is what I always do, it keeps me from pushing anything off the front and having a big bad accident. So those have worked great. All right, so my chutneys and jams and jellies, I know it still looks full. A lot of it is fronted. I have gone through so many of these. I've given them out as gifts, hostess gifts, eaten them whenever we entertain. I open one of these and do it with, salami and cheese and crackers and stuff. I eat them on, pork, grilled pork, chicken, steak. I mean, I love it. It's great. So these just add so much flavor. And these are the things you cannot find in a grocery store. Peach chutney. When was the last time you saw peach chutney in a grocery store? And it's delicious. It just adds so much to a meal. Mango chutney. Here's that mango thing. We really do like mangoes, apparently. This one is my favorite. This is pear chutney. I did it in these little jars. I'm going to do it in bigger jars next year because every time I open one of these, I need to come open another one because we just go through it so fast. This is really good. If you are a beginner chutney eater, you might try the pear chutney. It's mild. It's not as spicy as some of them. It's really delicious. All right, tomato. In my last video, I talked about my beginning canning days when I would make food in jars that I thought was too pretty to eat. So I would sit there on the shelf and I would just admire it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous, and I did that. And anyway, didn't actually help anything, right? So I have one more of those. This is my very last jar of canned cherry tomatoes with basil in them. And I just think that this jar is so pretty that I'm trying to save it until I can put some more on the shelf to replace it because I think it looks beautiful up there. I love to walk in and see that. So, yeah, I kind of need to get over myself on that one probably, but it is what it is. All right, let's talk about pasta sauce. I did some pasta sauce. This is seasoned Italian sauce. You can see I did have a little bit of siphoning in this particular jar, but that's great. We don't need a whole lot of pasta, but I do have that when we're ready. And trifecta sauce. This is what I normally use. This is what I call my regular tomato-based sauce that I make. It doesn't have any seasonings, but it does have onions and garlic in it. So there's no basil, oregano, any of that kind of stuff. But I call it trifecta just so I know that the onions and garlic are already in there. So that's terrific. Okay, so that trifecta sauce I just showed you, this is same sauce, same everything, except it's not blended together. So this is roasted tomatoes, onions, and garlic. And I use that just like I would, diced tomatoes that in a recipe, whether it's going to go into like a sauce to top pasta or something with, or whether it's going in a soup or a stew. That's how I use that. And then this last one, this is a video. I did this back in September, so I may have talked about it in the November one, but this is pizza sauce. This is delicious. And we love pizza. We eat funky pizza because, we're either paleo or low carb or whatever. But this sauce is fantastic on any and all of it. Okay, this is my raw packed chicken. They call it ugly chicken. And I had hoped to beef this up. We go through it so fast. So I did add some, and then the prices just got really crazy. So I kind of stopped adding it. but we haven't stopped eating it yet. So this shelf I would like to see full. It's not full. I don't know if you can see it in there, how much is empty, but 1, 2, 3, 4 jars wide by 6 jars deep, and this is, no, it's not fronted, but so I could use another couple dozen jars of the chicken, but it got to be a crazy price, so I'm just going to wait a little bit and we'll see how that goes. I did get some turkey canned after the holidays. I did this in November. I don't think I did a video on it. I was just trying to work through everything as fast as I could after the holidays, and that's been fun to have. I had not done, this is cooked turkey, obviously leftovers from Thanksgiving, and I had not canned that before, and this is really fun. It's a great start to turkey soup. And then chicken thighs. This is what's left of the chicken thighs that I canned. These are great. This is so easy to crisp up and throw on a salad. You know, it's a quick protein on a salad. There's not a lot of actual proteins on my shelf, truly, that I would just crisp up and throw on a salad, right? I mean, I'll make chicken salad. I make a lot of chicken salad, and you know, I use all my proteins, just not necessarily for, oh my gosh, okay, we're gonna have a big salad because I have all this lettuce here, but I need something to throw on it, and I don't want to wait for chicken breast to defrost. This has been great. I drain these, throw them in the air fryer, spritz them with a little avocado oil, and that has been terrific to throw on. Oh, and with the bacon too. So that's been great. All right, a couple more meals down here. I'm almost done, almost out of Brunswick Stew. This is one of my favorite things ever. If you haven't made Brunswick Stew, haven't tasted Brunswick Stew, have no clue what Brunswick Stew is, go back and take a look at that video. October, November kind of time frame is when I posted that, I think. It's delicious. So that's one of my favorite things to have on the shelf. So a couple more we just did together in the sandwich series. This is Chipotle Beef. This is excellent. And Italian beef. This one, I have not gone back and tasted the sauce again to see if I like that any better than I did last time. It was left it a little dry. I think the sauce was kind of runny, I guess. So, but David seemed to really like that, and all he needs is hot sauce on anything. So we have that. And then the Chipotle beef, the sauce is fantastic, and the beef is fantastic as well. Well, I said I wasn't going to go through everything, and I think I kind of did. So I hope you've enjoyed it. So a couple of things I want to talk about. This is chicken corn chowder. I had several requests to do a video on chicken corn chowder, and I was planning to do that this winter, and then I ran into the old, sad, sorry, yucky potato issue. So I have not done that yet. It is still on my list. This is from 2020. I primarily made this for my son. He loved it. He moved out in 2020, and I think that I have 2 jars left of this. So I had this last night for dinner. I think it was last night for dinner. It's great. I don't know why. I think of it as my son's food, so we haven't eaten it. But anyway, it was great, and I'm going to make some more as soon as I can get some good potatoes worth canning. And then this is one of my favorite meal starters that I did. Well, they're all kind of my favorites, but this one is great. This is the Chicken Verde. I did this, I think I did a video on this in October, and it's fantastic. It's so versatile. You can use it as is, turn it into a soup, add some white beans if you want to make a chicken white chili kind of thing. You can add, you know, corn and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff to get more of a taco soup, chicken taco soup kind of thing. You can drain off the liquid and use the meat, crush it up, turn it into fillings for enchiladas or burritos or tacos. It is so versatile, and the flavor is fantastic. So when I buy all of those tomatillos from the farmer's market to go with my Salsa Verde, I'm going to buy plenty to do more of this as well. I've now made 2 batches of this, and we're going through it. So I hope it's going to last me until we have tomatillos again. So that's my pantry as it stands today. So this summer I'm going to be focused on adding all of the veggie things and the fruit things, everything tomato based, potatoes, chutneys, jams, jellies, salsas, pickled, everything really. I mean, we don't probably everything maybe except for actual cucumbers, but we'll see. I need a lot of pickled vegetables because we just, those are just great. You throw on a charcuterie board, you just throw beside a sandwich. David likes them in a salad. So I'll be doing quite a bit of that too. So I have a few things I want to get done before the summer harvest starts coming in. I have some condiments to do, a couple more meal starters, meals in jars I want to do. If chicken ever goes on sale, I'm going to do some more chicken. I'm definitely going to do some more baked beans. I'd like to get a couple more, my enchilada sauces. I never got an enchilada sauce recipe. I thought I had one, but I never really found one that was just exactly what I wanted. And then I found one, and then I lost it. So I'm still working on finding an enchilada sauce recipe that I want to can, because that, to us, as much, Mexican style food as we eat, I think that would be really useful. So I've got a few other ideas, things I want to get on the pantry shelf, and I'll bring you along for those as well. So thank you so much for being here. I love sharing, I love sharing everything about food with you, whether it's gardening or canning or drying or just simply talking about it and planning it out. So I'm glad you're here. I welcome you anytime, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.